Hello. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Now, good morning to all of you. Yesterday I started the globalization, right? And I told you about the meaning of the globalization, in which the commodities, the ideas, the capital, they come closer to each other and they create the part of globalization. And I told you also that globalization has negative impact also. It has the positive impact also. Obviously, positive impact is much more larger. It much more enhancer than the negative impact. But you have to think about the negative impact also in the globalization. So in the global and what is the meaning of globalization? Globalization is basically interconnectedness, interconnected when जब हम एक दूसरे के प्रति connect हो जाते हैं. So globalization, however, does not emerge merely because of the availability of improved communication. What is important is for people in different parts of the world to recognize their interconnectedness with the rest of the world. So currently, we are aware of the fact that the events taking place in one part of the world could have impact on the another part of the world. So here I was able to halt my lecture yesterday. Don't think that globalization is surrounding on a particular one part. कोई भी घटना होती है, whatever it happens in one part of the world, it affects another part of the world, right? So what is that we are, because why it is so? Because in the globalization we are connected with each other, right? Technologically we are connected, emotionally we are connected, psychologically we are connected, and physically also we are connected. And due to this interconnections, globalization has a larger meaning. Okay, for another, if I want to elaborate, your market value, marketplace, your commodities, it is from China also, it is from other countries also. Even America is also investing in our market. Germany is also investing in our market, and many other countries throughout the world they are investing in our market. So your market is not your alone, and lots of people are coming. Lots of people are coming throughout the world to have connected, to be connected with our market. So it is interconnectedness of the people. So this is a part of the globalization. Now, it was the first part of interconnectedness. It's the first part of causes of the globalization, which is our topic, right? So now it's a political consequences. It's a political. Now we will discuss about the political consequences. One of the debates that has been generated as a consequences of contemporary process of globalization relates to its ongoing political impact. What is the political impact of the globalization? What are the political impact of the globalization? How does globalization affect traditionally conceptions of state sovereignty, traditional concepts of state sovereignty? There are at least three aspects what we need to consider when all answering this question. So, at the most simple level, globalization results in an erosion of state capacity. What do you mean by erosion of state capacity? This is a negative aspect. Let me tell you one thing. जो ग्लोबलाइजेशन है, ये स्टेट की अपनी कैपेसिटी को कम कर देता है. Because your another partner could be much better than you people, right? And it's a negative competitiveness को, it enhances the negative competitiveness. नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट को ये भी जोड़ता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इट पॉलिटिकल इम्पैक्ट के अंदर ग्लोबलाइजेशन अफेक्ट ट्रेडिशनल कंसेप्शन ऑफ स्टेट सॉवरेनिटी एंड Globalization results in erosion of state capacity. Minimize is the state cap. State means here is a basically word. State capacity is state means a country. Sorry, state means a country. So state की capacity को किसी country की capacity को कम कर देती है. Because people suppose made in India. One part is made in India. Another part is another commodity is made in Japan. And I think 90% will people will think that we should go which is written made in Japan. That particular aspect, that particular thing, that one commodity they want to purchase, which is written made in Japan. So what happens? The made in India, they know they divorce that particular aspect, and they prefer they are not preferring made in India. They are preferring made in Japan. So किसी देश की अपनी बनी हुई चीज को वो दरकिनार कर देती है. कौन? ग्लोबलाइजेशन. बिकॉज इट्स ऑलरेडी in your market, right? Now Samsung, I told you yesterday, India was also manufacturing Tesla, it's Western TV and all many other many other advanced technologically advanced computer goods and electronic goods, but nobody wants it. They want basically they want from Chinese brand because it is much more durable, you can say, right? If we contrast with the Indian goods and Samsung, this is from Korea. So where is the Indian market? Where is now Western TV and Tesla TV? Nowhere. And even Philips, where is Philips now? Nowhere. So they used to do, the erosion of the state capacity is a one. That is the availability of government to do what they do all over the world. The old welfare state is now giving way to a more minimalist state that performs certain core functions such as maintenance of law and order and the security of its citizens. Right. So, however, it withdraws from many of its earlier welfare functions directed at the economic and social well-being. In place of the welfare state, it is a market that becomes a prime determination of economics and social priorities. Now, the market is much more important than other social priorities. Market means paisa, right? So, market is prime factor. Market is here prime factor for the political aspect, or in the globalization. Which I told you in the first sentence that the globalization means when your market is open for the world market and world market is open for your market. Here's a money is main factor. Dollars are main factor. Your richness is main factor. Your availability is main factor. Right? How much facilities you are able to give the other part of the world and other businessmen, traders. That is the main factor. So, in place of the welfare state, it is the market that becomes the prime determinant. वेलफेयर स्टेट का है कि बेसिकली हम क्या सोचते हैं कि पैसा है तो सब कुछ है. Let me tell you one thing. पैसा है, if you have the money, you can give yourself the best comfortability in the world. So it becomes the prime market means money, and it becomes the prime determinant of economics and social priorities. The entry and the increased role of multinational companies all over the world leads to a reduction in the capacity of governments to take decisions on their own. For example, let me tell you one thing. Why Kisan people are there with up their arms and put a halt the whole Delhi? Why their agitation? Some point should be there. They are in fear that multinational companies will take over their lands and all. Their जितने भी फसल है ना multinational companies ले जाएंगी, and they will not get anything. MNCs, because they are going to capture Indian market in the future. And now also. Now also multinational companies are there. Not only in India, it is throughout the world. So the entry and increased role of multinational companies all over the world leads to a reduction in the capacity of governments to take decisions on their own. Government here is absolutely paralyzed. They cannot take the decision regarding to the market because money and power comes from the market. And multinational companies, they will take up their market and they will sell their own products into the market, and the indigenous products of any country, maybe take India, it will slowly and steadily it will vanish from the market purpose. So what will government's capacity is nowhere. Government capacity to have the decision in favor of this own people is nowhere because they are being controlled by the other people, the market. So at the same time, globalization does not always reduce state capacity. This I told you, this is the negative aspect when you are unable to do good thing for your own people. This is a negative. But some but we cannot say that we cannot say hello to the globalization. Your product should be so much better that it should compete with the other part of the world. आप अपने सामान इतना अच्छा बनाइए ना कि दूसरे देश के लोग आपके सामान को खरीद सकें. Corruption should be at the lowest level. होना ही नहीं चाहिए corruption. But it is said that in Indian market, corruption, and if somebody someone controls and some policy controls the corruption and population, India is the best. Corruption is not okay. Now the corruption has been reduced at lot of level, but still it is there. So if we are not allowing the international market to compete with our market, we have to be ready with for the competition. Let me tell you one thing: we have to be ready with the competition. कंपटीशन के लिए हमें तैयार रहना पड़ेगा. बिना कंपटीशन के we cannot compete. We should Our product should be the best, reasonably acceptable, reasonably good. It should be last long. But at the minimum, everyone can purchase it. Not our product should be for the rich and good people, rich people who have got the good economy. Everyone can enjoy the life. That is your competitiveness is there, right? So why China is able to compete your market? Why China is was earlier, it captured the whole market because China knows that they are maximum people are mediocre, from mediocre family. They have to manufacture according to their needs. See now, right? So at the same time, globalization does not always reduce state capacity. The primacy of the state, here, here it is: economic consequences. Economic consequences. Economic globalization is okay. Let me fix it first. Yeah, continues to be unchallenged. At the same time, globalization does not always reduce the state capacity. The primacy of state continues to its unchallenged basis of political community. It's a page number 140 here. From here to state this way continues to be unchallenged basis of political community. The old jealous and the rivalries between countries have not ceased to be matter in the world politics, and under the economic consequences, Now, now we were here. While everything may not be known as the economic facets of globalization, this particular dimension shapes a large part of the content and direction of the contemporary debate surrounding globalization. Right. A part of the problem has to do with the defining economic globalization itself. The mention of economic globalization draws our attention immediately to the role of international institutions like the IMF and the WTO and the role they play in the determining economic policies across the world. Now, basically, lots of countries are poor countries, right? Technologically, is much better secure than the people. We are technologically much secure. That's why we are interconnected. And economic consequences are there. If some, as globalization is everywhere, the poor country is getting poor. If it is negative aspect you are taking, and rich countries are becoming rich. A part of problem has to do with defining economic globalization itself. The mention of, WTO, what WTO is doing, World Trade Organization. It's making some rule and regulation for the world trade, right? World Trade, and another one is IMF, International Monetary Fund. It gives a loan to the needy countries, right? So they play, and these two, and another one is World Bank. They play these three parts: WTO, World Trade Organization, um, IMF, International Monetary Fund, and World Bank. They play a vital role. They play an important role to determining economic policies across the world. And economy is a vital issue in globalization. Let me tell you one thing: economics. Yet globalization must not be viewed in such a narrow terms. Economic globalization involves many actors that, other than these international institutions, a much broader way of understanding of economic globalization requires us to look at the distribution of economic gains, who gets more form of globalization and who gets the less. I told you, less, who are beneficiaries. The seeds are from the globalization, right? WTO is making its rule and regulation for the trade purpose. IMF, International Monetary Fund, and World Bank, it gives a loan to the needy countries. But let we discuss who is basically getting much more beneficiary from the globalization and who gets less, indeed, who are getting losses. Okay, take it otherwise. The poor trader, right? Retail trader. They used to say that we are getting a lot of loss. But the multinational companies, they have got a chain of occupation, chain of multinational facets. They are getting richer and richer. They give the good, you can say, salary, but minimum input they are getting maximum output. Right. So, what is then called economic globalization? What is often called economic globalization usually involves greater economic flows. Right. There's a greater economic flows. Here it is. What is often called economic globalization? Usually it involves greater economic flows among the different countries of the world. Some of this voluntarily, some forced by international institutions. It's an economic force. Let me tell you one thing. Right. And some people accept this economic aspect, maybe negative, maybe positive, voluntarily or being forced. आप ठीक से market को accept कर लो, या otherwise multinational companies were there to force you to accept those rules and regulations. As you saw, and this is a voluntarily, you accept it voluntarily that someone is going to take over, or you will be forced to take over by someone. यदि आपके प्रोडक्ट अच्छे नहीं हैं, तो let me assure that other companies there to take over your market, right? They will not give you the chance even. This is obviously, that's why I said, you have to be good with the competitiveness, right? Some of this and institutions are very powerful, and they are very much powerful countries who are going to take over your market. China, for example, China took over your market, not your market. It captured throughout world's market. As you saw in the example of the beginning of the chapter, this flow or exchange can take various forms of commodities, capital, people, ideas. Capital. They will pump their money, dollars, pounds, and the euros into your market, and your economy is gone. Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing. If we want to destroy these days, if we want to destroy a country, we don't have to destroy it by the military. Military preparedness is a war. War is a secondary issue now. War is not a first issue. It is not 15th, 16th, or 17th century. It is 20th, 21st century. Where war is nowhere, they don't want to go for the war. They will capture your market. They will stop your flow, money flow in the market. They will put their money into the market. You are nowhere. They are going to capture you. लड़ाई का मतलब क्या है? हार या जीती तो है ना. तुम हार गए, हम हार. कोई भी देश कंट्री हार जाएगा जब उसके मार्केट को, उसके पैसे को, उसके उसकी कमोडिटीज को कोई और कंट्री कैप्चर कर लेगा. तो क्या होगा? उसको फोर्स करेगा, वो तो या तो वॉलंटरी सरेंडर कर देगा. आर्मी, फौज में भी तो यही होता है ना, जब लड़ाई होती है, देन वन हैज टू सरेंडर और दे आर फोर्स्ड टू सरेंडर. So here also the same thing. You are going to surrender before an MNC or other MNCs or multinational, other various MNCs, or they will force you to surrender. बात तो वही होगी. आपकी इकोनॉमी कैप्चर हो गई तो आप भी तो कैप्चर हो गए. Very simple answer. So as we saw in the example of beginning of the chapter, this flow or exchange can take various forms. और कैसे है ये? Commodities से. They will capture your commodity. They will not let you go into the market, their own market. Number one, their capital, their money is in market, capital through capital, and through people, intelligence through people. They will capture you. So it's a flow of ideas, flow of capital, flow of commodities, flow of technology, and you know taking care of the markets, taking care of other markets is called globalization. I think I'm clear to you. So globalization has involved a greater trade in commodities. Globalization has involved a greater trade of commodities across the globe. The restriction imposed by yeah here. So the restriction imposed by different countries on allowing the imports of others have been reduced. Similarly, the restriction on movement of capital across countries have also been reduced. The restriction of movement of capital across countries have also been reduced. मतलब अब now restrictions are reduced. अब आप किसी देश को भी किसी देश से भी import कर सकते हो. You can import something if you want it. So, for example, now during the corona 19 corona 19 now we are passing through a very critical stage. more than 1,50,000, more 40,000 in recorded. I think it's more than 1,50,000 people are killed in India itself. Do you know about the mask? No, no. We don't have the mask in India. We don't have any mask in India because we didn't require it. China used to supply masks, and it, due to China itself, coronavirus was spreaded. It was spread through one corner to another corner due to China only, and it is giving you the mask also. Right now, mask is everywhere. This is called indigenization. Now we knew that we have to go through into the market from very tiny, pen to aeroplane. We have to capture our market, not the other people, comes into you and they capture yourself throughout with the trade and commodity. So different countries allowing the import from other countries have been reduced. Import अब reduce हो चुका है. India में भी, less of import, maximum export is another fact. So important. Otherwise, we were importing mask, even PPE kit, personal protection kit also. We were importing, but now we are manufacturing and we are exporting to other countries. Across the countries have been reduced. अब लोग, I this Canada. Lots of people are traveling every day. So traveling is also very much easy now. Restriction has been reduced, right? So it means that investors in the rich countries can invest their money in the countries whether other than their own investors. You know, big fairs are there. Lot of people used to come over here, right? They used to invest in Indian market. Even Prime Minister also invited lot of people throughout the world to invest in Indian market. They're investing it. So it means the investors in rich countries can invest their money in our countries and other countries other than their own, including developing countries where they might get better returns. We are also investing in other countries where our returns are much more better. Returns are much more better. People are going to get the job in other Middle East countries and African countries where they used to pay them much better. So, flow of the people, flow of the ideas, flow of the commodities, flow of the economies is called globalization. I think you are getting it. Now, globalization has also led to the flow of ideas across the national boundary, which I told you. The spread of internet. Now, see, spread of internet. You can just through the internet, what you can watch what is happening in Australia. Right? Internet, you can send any message within few seconds to another part of the world. So internet is very fast. The spread of internet and computer related services is an example of that, but globalization has led to the same degree of increase in the movement of people across the globe. Developed countries have carefully guarded their borders with visa policies to ensure that the citizens of the countries cannot take away the job of their own citizens. Up now, people, many countries, they have restricted the visa policies so that their personal interest, their job interest should be guarded. Lot is I told you that to move one place to another place is very easy now. You can have a job in other countries. So what will be consequences? What will be the consequences? You are taking the job of other in other country from other people, and you are getting job for yourself. आप कम पैसे में दूसरे देश में जाकर उसका काम करते हो. It means you are getting a job in other country. So their job is being reduced. So they are guard now. It's a negative aspect. So they are having a guard through the visa rule and regulation. Through the visa rule and regulation, they are guarding. They are guarding their own factors, their own responsibilities, so that their own aspects. They should not take their job. Developed countries have carefully guarded their borders with visa policies to ensure the citizens of other countries cannot take away the job of their own. Visa conditions काफी strict हो गई हैं. आप it's not very easy to go over there and other country take the job of there, right? We have to fight you have to abide by the rule and regulation, the visa and all. So, in thinking about this, about the about the consequences of globalization, it is necessary to keep in mind that the same set of policies do not lead to the same result everywhere. While globalization has led to the similar economic policies adopted by governments in different parts of the world, this has generated vastly different outcomes in the different parts of the world. It is again crucial to pay attention to the specific context rather than make simple generalization in this connection. Economic globalization has created an intense division of the opinion all over the world. You know, economic इकोनॉमी जो ग्लोबलाइजेशन है, ये आपको ये मान के चलना पड़ेगा, which I read for in the previous paragraph, that the effect is not everywhere the same. The effect is not same everywhere, right? It could be possible that somewhere is a negative, somewhere is a positive effect, and the negative and positive has a not same dimension. It is very कहीं पे इकोनॉमिक ग्लोबलाइजेशन जो है किसी देश के अंदर, इट इज वेरी गुड for advanced countries. They are capturing other countries, sorry, not people, other countries' market. So it is very good for them. They are getting the market. They are getting they are getting the good return from the market. It's very good for the advanced countries. But in that country where they are getting their market, what is happening to those people who are losing their jobs? What will happen then? So economic globalization का मतलब ये नहीं है कि everywhere it's a very good. इकोनॉमिक ग्लोबलाइजेशन को हमें ये भी एक्सेप्ट करना होगा कि इसके नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट भी हैं. पर लेट मी टेल यू वन थिंग. Due to the negative aspect, you will not go for the positiveness, or you will not enhance yourself. Then it is again a negative aspect. So we have to accept globalization. We have to accept the economic globalization. और ग्लोबलाइजेशन ने ना पूरे वर्ल्ड को डिवाइड कर दिया है. हैव एंड हैव नॉट, डेवलप्ड कंट्री एंड डेवलपिंग कंट्री. लेट मी टेल यू वन थिंग. Have countries and have globalization. Those who are concerned about social justice are worried about the extent of state withdrawal caused by process of economic globalization. They point out that it is likely to benefit only a small section of population while impoverishing those who were dependent on the government for the jobs and welfare, education, healthcare, and sanitation, etc. Globalization को मानने वाली ये कहते हैं कि basically, it is for the benefit of the rich people, not the mediocre section. Right? It enhancing the help to the developed country. It is making richer to the for. Hello. Next.